Nigerian Shippers Council remains resolute that extortion, arbitrary charges, and all other forms of unsavory practices in the ports, and indeed the maritime sector, will be eradicated. Believe us when we tell you that nothing, absolutely nothing, escapes the eagle eyes of the Council. With boots on ground in the manner of speaking and credible intelligence, nothing untoward goes unnoticed. Welcome to another exciting edition of the program, The Shipper. I am Rekia Zubairu. We'll be back after the short break.
The Nigerian Shippers Council is now better poised with responsive systems in place to help you and other shippers get seamless, stress-free transition for your clients' goods from point A to B. Today at the Nigerian Shippers Council, timeliness, orderliness, transparency and efficiency is all we care about. Put your complaint through to our helpline. Visit us at number 4 Ayodele Shoyode Lane, Apapa, Lagos, or reach us on www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the point of your need.
Nigerian Shippers Council, we meet you at the port of your needs.
The pain felt by shippers who have their containers transferred to bonded terminals without their express instruction is something that Nigerian Shippers Council is determined to eradicate. Who can convey the sentiments better than those directly affected?
Bonded terminals is good, but we're having issues moving our containers from mother ports to bonded terminals. One, the time spent. At times we can use up almost a month before we get our containers in the bonded terminals. And secondly, the charges they put up is exhaustible. It's too much.
The Nigeria Port Authorities are trying to decongest the main port by making use of the bonded terminals available. But the bonded terminals available are not helping matters. They see it as a channel of making money, let me put it that way, because assuming they see it as a channel of genuine transactions and business, nobody will be complaining the way everyone is complaining as a result of the hike in transfer charges.
It's a one-stop shop that would have been easy, that once you get there, you quickly move your goods. But because of these bottlenecks, you find that it's not easy to transit goods from the mother port to the bonded terminals. It was a good design, but the bureaucracy and what have you had made it bad. Recently, the port had gotten full and found out there is nothing they can do than to start moving goods to those areas, especially APMT. So we found that goods are taken without the consent of the owners to some of these bonded terminals. For me, I prefer taking my cargoes right in the mother port because, one, it's cheaper. It's cheaper in the sense that you pay a less cost in the terminal charge. You pay less in terms of the job, because when it gets to the bonded terminal, because most of the bonded terminal don't have a lot of cargoes, then the officers that work in that place kind of hold on to the goods and then begin to extort so much that by the time you finish, you find that cost of clearing the bonded terminal is much more than the terminal. We should make business activities in Nigeria friend, not a situation where after you have done business, you go home and begin to seek because of frustration, because of the experience you have. Imagine this appointment I have this morning. I was almost running tension in the vehicle because of the traffic on the road. So they should clear some of these things. So as our country will be enjoyable. People shouldn't think of how to lead the country to go somewhere because of man-made problems. There are so many man-made problems that is frustrating the people that are working in the country.
Of course, it is up to the consignee to say, move my container to bonded terminal because I want to have my containers out on time. I don't expect that importer to pay extra. If my container handling charges X naira at the terminal, I don't want to go to bonded terminal. Why? and pay for terminal handling charges again. These are the charges that the Nigerian Shippers Council need to harmonize.
Shippers Council works around the clock to ensure that everyone is treated fairly. On the shipper today, attention will be focused on illegal charges forced on shippers when their containers are transferred from seaport terminals to government-approved and licensed bonded terminals. In the final analysis, this practice results in higher costs of goods on top of the inconvenience and the waste of time.
The freedictionary.com defines a bonded terminal as a warehouse in which dutiable goods are deposited until duty is paid or the goods are cleared. It is a storage facility approved by the Customs Authority. When bonded terminal came into being in the early 80s, it was greeted with promises and high hopes of revenue and employment generation. Bonded terminal operators have operating license to effect loading containers in bond either by road or rail. The idea of bonded terminals was also conceived as a viable channel of supplying the much-needed industrial raw materials, spares and agricultural materials for the development of hinterland states and local government areas. Lately, the need for bonded terminals is born out of the need to decongest the ports due to grossly inadequate precipitating delays in turnaround time of vessels at the nation's harbor. Provision are therefore made to have full presence of the Nigeria Customs Service and other relevant government agencies required for port operations in bonded terminals.
The bonded terminals, the whole thing is where, cargo is stamped, from the seaport terminals so that there will not be congestion. Once you have 70% yard occupancy, then it behoves you to send, because of space management, so that you're expecting cargo to come. So you have to decongest your yard or your terminal. So that's why it's stamped, to this abduct terminal, which is licensed by the Nigerian Customs.
Such goods transferred for concession port terminals to bonded terminals are expected to be done at no cost to the importer. Concerned about incessant and unwarranted charges imposed on shippers by off-dock terminals, the Executive Secretary, Nigerian Shippers Council, Hassan Bello, took a tour of bonded terminals in Lagos with a view to making an on-the-spot assessment of the storage facilities and to ascertain the level of compliance with standard operating procedures. It was no longer business as usual for operators of these bonded terminals when the Executive Secretary discovered that the operators have been charging for containers sent to their facilities. Hassan Bello expressed his displeasure with the bonded terminal operators for their refusal to refund storage fees amounting to more than 40 million naira. He emphasized that it is the duty of the terminal operators who stem cargoes to bonded terminals to pay and not the shippers.
All charges accruing out of that transfer should not be borne by the shipper. It is international practice, international standard. And I'm happy to say that there has been substantial compliance with these directives. But we need to go around and check and see whether shippers are being charged or not, whether terminals have complied. We have talked with this terminal and we have seen substantial compliance.
The NSC boss insisted that money collected from shippers be refunded.
Those who stem the goods are responsible for whatever cost, and not the shippers. So between the seaport terminal and the off-dock terminal, there must be an SOP, standard operating procedure, or a memorandum of understanding. I think what has been happening is informal arrangements. We cannot have informal arrangements. The shipper cannot pay for what is not his responsibility. The Nigerian Shippers Council believes in consultations and negotiations. But if for any other reason, or for any reason, we have found out that either the seaport terminal or the off-dock terminal is charging these fees, which we have abolished, then Nigerian Shippers Council will be left with no option than to take very strict measures to ensure that this has not happened. And that measure will include sealing off premises of the recalcitrant, operators who have defied genuine orders from Nigerian Shippers Council.
The executive secretary of NSC hinted that some staff of the council will be deployed to bonded terminals to monitor and enforce compliance with NSC regulations.
We are observing where we say they should improve, they will. The examination of the cargo by customs should be improved. Also, access to the port or this terminal should also be improved. So we are looking at all issues. We want operational efficiency. Because of that, we are posting staff of Nigerian Shippers Council, 1 or 2 here, permanently, and other terminals to make sure that every week we have a report on what is discharged here, how long does it take for a container to exit, and what are the difficulties, because they also have challenges and Shippers Council has to help them overcome.
As a government agency which believes in consultation and negotiation, a mediatory meeting was subsequently convened between the Nigerian Shippers Council and relevant stakeholders on stemming of cargo to bonded terminals.
We invited all the relevant stakeholders to this effect. So we have discussed with them and we came up with resolutions, and many of them have signed that resolution. That resolution is a document that is going to back the Nigerian Shippers Council to monitor them, to ensure compliance, and to enforce them if they fail to comply.
Terminal operators, bonded terminal operators, and barge operators were part of the stakeholders who participated at the crucial mediatory meeting.
The purpose of clearing, making sure that we mitigate the congestion that could happen within the key apron, the key side and all. We go into collaboration with bonded terminal operators. Then we move some of those buses to the bonded terminal for easy delivery out there, because we know that port ought to be a transit point, not a place where you store containers. Then we were into collaboration with them. But I don't think that is what is playing out now in this post-concession era. So we need to first of all ask ourselves, the terminal operators, are they into collaboration with bonded terminal operators? That's the first question we need to ask ourselves. If they are not into collaboration with bonded terminal operator, then it will be kind of difficult, to have them, create a window where they can be that kind of seamless operations.
When federal government gave APM terminals to decongest the port, they know we don't have roads. The only way we can decongest the port is through barging these containers to places very close. We have one at Geolis, one at Browers. And when those containers are back to that very place, we will in turn use our truck to lead those containers to this very place and still pay for badges, pay for the place where the containers are staying. Or goes to the container transfer charge. We cannot just come and begin to charge people for transfer when we didn't do any work. That we explain to customers, that we explain to the line owners. When we talk to the line owners, later they started judging that it's the APM terminal we should face that same container to us. That their business is to ask them to manage their containers.
After paying them all the charges, if you want to take your container through barge, you need to pay them another 260,000 naira before they will allow you to take it through barge. And it's only by means of barge that we can be able to face the challenges because of the road.
When you want to focus on one. Let other comes in. We have a lot of indigenous businessmen that can pull the weight. Let them come in. Let everybody come and invest on this. Not that the company, they want to be they want to do this. They want to be the terminal operator. They want to be the transporter. They want to be the clearing agent. They want to. You find out that all these things, they're going to monopolize everything, and the cost will be higher because they're going to make sure that they make their money within some months.
Saying if you ever happen to have time to visit the terminals, you see both skilled and unskilled workers. That brings an economy and expansion of what we were crying for employment. And the only way we can achieve this is to dig into the government to assist us. As I've seen the Shippers Council, they are trying to do their best, and the NPA, to make sure they do a constant stemming, which is the most important thing. Not just when there's a congestion, then they call for terminals. It must be continuous because we spend a lot of money now to buy more equipment to assist us and also employment. You cannot let them go.
It's high. I will not say anything outside that. It is high, but we can bring it down. We can bring it to a lowest minimal, something that somebody can manage. So that's why we are here. We are going to see if the terminal operators comes in, off-dock comes in, shipping company comes in, the batch operator, all of us can team up and see where we can cut some of those charges and make it manageable for our people.
At the end of the brainstorming session with the maritime stakeholders, an 11-point resolution was jointly issued by the Nigerian Shippers Council and the maritime stakeholders in attendance.
Here's hoping that all stakeholders will abide by the resolutions reached at that meeting. We all stand to gain by it. Commendations to all parties who showed up for the meeting. We'll take a break now. When we return, Abike will take you aboard her ship as she takes you on a tour of the world. Stay with us.
Tidbits on your favorite maritime program, The Shipper. I am Abike Idowu. In Abia State, Shippers Council, in collaboration with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council (NEPC), visited shoe manufacturers and leather clusters in Ariara Market, Aba. The team from Shippers Council was led by the Zonal Coordinator Southeast, Reverend Anayo Winners, while Team NEPC was led by the Parastatus Southeast Regional Coordinator, Mr. Arnold Jackson. The aim of the visit was to assist leather and shoe manufacturers formalize their export trade, as well as resolve shipping problems that they experienced in the course of trading. And in Abuja, the newly appointed Permanent Secretary of Ministry of Transportation, Dr. Magdalene Ajani, commended the Council for its promotion of the establishment of Vehicle Transit Areas, VTA, amongst other initiatives aimed at trade facilitation to boost the nation's economy and delivering high-quality service to shippers. Dr. Ajani was very excited about the prospect of the actualization of VTAs in various parts of Nigeria, which would lead to a significant reduction of road traffic accidents. She said the VTAs will create sanity on the roads while generating employment. While in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, Director Southwest Zone of Shippers Council, Mr. Glory Onojedu, delivered a goodwill message at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Dagbolu International Trade Center/Dry Port at Ikirun Road. And here is our complaint register for the week. A total number of 9 complaints have been received, 3 have been resolved, and 6 are still ongoing investigations. Some of these complaints include export fraud, arbitrary charges, wrong payment of invoice, service delivery, excess demurrage refunds, and excessive charges. Shippers Council will continue to advocate for shippers to protect them from exploitation. Here is a letter from one of our stakeholders, Mr. Daniel Ikezu, of S. Chinak Services, who thanked us for resolving a matter between his company and a shipping agency. But wait, there's more. Another stakeholder, Mr. Okosubide Mozimo of ACO Worldwide, sent in a letter of appreciation thanking the council for handling a case promptly, which he said could have led to further loss of revenue for his company if delayed. We are glad to save our stakeholders some cost. And now some news on shipping around the world. Coatings manufacturer Impel has launched an underwater hull inspection service using remote-operated vehicles, ROVs. Initially available at key ports in China and Korea, The new service will be rolled out across key maritime hubs worldwide in the near future. Under the new inspection service, an ROV controlled by a specialized coating advisor will navigate around the vessel's hull using remote control thrusters, capturing high-resolution video footage and still imagery of the hull for real-time assessment. China's Rudong Port in Jingzhou province is set to build 2 new liquid bulk cargo berths for its second phase terminal project. The project, located at Yankou Port area of Rudong, includes 2 new 50,000-ton class liquid bulk cargo berths with a designed annual handling capacity of 4.7 million tons per year. Construction is expected to be completed in 2022. In the Middle East, Abu Dhabi's port has launched the Smart Container Initiative aimed at cutting carbon emissions with the help of environmentally friendly technologies. Powered by clean energy, the solar panel, steel, and aluminium smart container uses environmentally friendly technologies such as in-roll cooling, renewable energy, and efficient space allocation that will reduce power usage effectiveness by more than 20% and will slash carbon emissions by half. The prefabricated containerized data center runs a wide range of mission-critical applications including port and terminal operation systems, visitors passes, and other digital customer services. And that's it on this week's Tidbits. Till next time.
Nigerian Shippers Council Day to serve you well. No matter the problem, we go solve them for you.
Yes, so the Nigerian Shippers Council, they feel in a parole now for every level. And as soon as goods, they move from port A, go enter port B with a measure within on a needle. For the Nigerian Shippers Council, we don't sharp proper to fit hear you wella, work with you wella, and help you fit serve your customers them better, no matter where them day. As we country port economic regulator, the Nigerian Shippers Council get every now to fit make government consider the problem where shippers them they face. Visit we office for number 4 or to buy your daily show your daily. Papa, email us for nsc@shipperscouncil.gov.ng. We website now www.shipperscouncil.gov.ng. Nigerian Shippers Council with the meeting now for the port of una need.
Thanks, Abike. Time does fly. All too soon, we've come to the end of another edition of The Shipper. It was a pleasure to host you on the program. Do join us again next week for another exciting 30 minutes to start your Saturday right. Until then, goodbye.